Hey boys and girls, Dr. Ken here. I have a special guest with me this evening, Mr. Dave Feldman. You may know him by the handle Dave Keto. He is one of the leading researchers and thinkers, a philosopher, if you will, in the field of lipid metabolism, what total cholesterol means, what your LDL means, your HDL and your triglycerides. He doesn't just blindly follow the guidelines given to us by big medicine and big pharma. He's actually researching this himself and trying to find answers that we can all benefit from. So Dave should be joining me momentarily. Nisha says hello. Hey Margie. Hey Carolyn. We're going to wait for Dave Feldman, the keto LDL guru, and he's got an experiment that he's done on himself that he wants to tell you about, and then we're going to answer your questions. Hey Dr. D. Hey May. He should be joining us any moment now, and I will add him when he does. So if you know anyone who has questions about their total cholesterol or their LDL, please share this with them. I think you can click add friends and just invite a bunch of your friends to watch. Hey Stephanie, thank you so much for your support. Hey Wendy, hey Jennifer. And invite your friends to join. You can share this on your personal Facebook page, or you can also share it in your keto groups. There's a lot of people who are thinking about doing keto. Yeah, Dave is super smart, Dr. D. You're absolutely right about that. You guys know Dr. James DiNicolantonio, the author of The Salt Fix, and he has a new book out now with Dr. Mercola called Super Fuel, about how fat gives you wings, which I totally agree with. And but Dave is a researcher. He's a computer scientist originally, but he is really moving the paradigm when it comes to thinking about cholesterol and LDL and all such things. So I'm watching for him. Dave, if you're watching, type something in the comments so I can see you go by. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Christina. Hey, Aubrey. Rocky and Tammy Skinner. April. Hey, guys. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from. If you're in the States, tell me what state, and if you're in the world, tell me what country, because I'd like to know. That's always cool when I see where you guys are watching from. And if this is the first video you've ever caught, type new in the comments so I'll know you're new and we can welcome you to hashtag Team Barry, the keto family. Joan just stopped her statin. That's good, Joan. I want you to ask questions when we get Dave on here. Where are you, Dave Feldman? I don't see you anywhere. There's Nisha. She says hi. Hey, Edith. Who is that right there? I don't currently have you where I can add you, Dave Feldman. Do you have Dave's cell? Okay. I was going to say text him. Maybe he'll be watching.
You just talked to him.
Yeah, I know. He said he was going to join, but I don't know if he's done a lot of Facebook Live. He may not know that he has to watch and comment. If anybody knows Dave Feldman, send him a message and tell him to get on here. He's supposed to be here right now, but I don't see him. Bogey, your triglycerides are 27. What are you in the U.S. or are you in another country? Because 27 is low if you're in the U.S. Oh, you might have to, Dr. D. If he doesn't join us in a few minutes, I may have to have Dr. D. Nicolantonio on, the author of The Salt Fix. He's hovering in the wings, ready to take over. He's a man after my own heart. Hey, Edith from Puerto Rico. All right. Norman from Rhode Island. Hey, Ruth. Thanks, Catherine. Sheena says hello to everybody. Shelly says hello from Waco, Texas. Come on, Dave Feldman. What are you doing, man? You're killing me here. Nope, no Dave Feldman yet. I'm pretty sure I'm live on the right page.
You are.
I am, okay. You've already checked?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never went live on the wrong page. Well, maybe once or twice. But I'm on the right page this time, so it's all Dave's fault, not mine. Has anybody messaged Dave and told him to show up The salt fix is fine with Susan. Oh, there's Dave Feldman right there. All right, Dave. Let's see if I can. And then it doesn't give me the add button. Isn't that nice? Dave, if you're on your laptop, you may have to do this on your phone. Sometimes laptops are really quirky about.
You hold down on him and it still wouldn't give
It didn't give me an ad. I've got add buttons on some people. Let me try again, Dave. Come back here. Nope, I can pin, delete, or block. Now, I don't want to do any of those things. Dave, if you're on your laptop, go off and come back on your phone. It's all Dave's fault. That's right. Yeah, Nisha is smart to look, Tammy. Thanks for pointing that out. Yes, he is. He's here. I saw him, but I just don't have an add button for him yet.
See if you can send a request.
Can you send a request to join, Dave? Try it that way. Yeah, I saw him, Janet. He's here. You're right. About time, Dave. Where you been, man? God, April says. No, Dave. Do you have a button that requests to join? If you do, hit that button. If not, then you may have to jump off your laptop and do this on your phone. Sometimes laptops are really quirky. I don't have an option to add you. I can add some people, but not Dave. See the add button?
Yeah.
Oh wait, Nisha may think she may think she has it. Hang on. See, that's all I got.
I know. I'm just. He's up here, like.
But he doesn't have an add button. It's like it's one of those weird Facebook things.
Ask now. He should be able to send a request now because I opened it up.
Oh, you did? Okay, now you should be able to send a request, Dave. You should have a little button, maybe.
Maybe it should.
If not, you'll have to switch devices. Sometimes you have to do that. Amy says her doctor tells her not to do keto because of her high cholesterol. What do you guys think about that? Amy, I'll go ahead and answer that. Your total cholesterol has nothing to do with your risk of having a heart attack or a stroke. And as a woman, your LDL has essentially no meaning as a risk marker for heart attack and stroke. So stop worrying about that. What I do want you to worry about is your triglycerides and your HDL. You want those to be normal, and you want to have a normal A1C and a normal C-peptide. And when you got all that stuff fixed, then your risk of heart attack and stroke. Dave, have you switched off to a different...
He's switching right now.
He is switching right now. Okay, good. Excellent. Okay. Yeah, Skylar's right. Women with higher cholesterol, all the research shows that they actually live longer. Okay, you're switching. Good. Yeah, don't worry about it, Na says, and I totally agree. My current total cholesterol is 350, and my current total LDL is 250. And I'm not worried. I feel great, and I feel like because my HDL is very high and my triglycerides are very low, and my A1C and my C-peptide are normal, that my risk for heart attack and stroke is baseline level, if not lower. Oh, Wendy's getting a pedicure while she watches. That's not fair, Wendy. Yeah, we'll talk about CAC and CIMT and all that stuff. Absolutely. As soon as Dave Keto gets on his other device, we'll see if that doesn't work. Oh, somebody fixed their HDL with keto. Dana did. That's excellent. Yeah, Sheena, you'll be immortal with numbers like that. Still watching for Dave to join from his other device, and then we can chat about this. You'll have to actually close Facebook on whatever other device you were on, Dave. And then you may even have, if you're getting on your cell phone, you may have to swipe up and completely close the app and then open it back up. Facebook is very quirky about this for some reason. I'm not sure why. Okay, you're trying now. Good deal. Shouldn't be too much longer, guys. You'll just have to hang out with me for a minute. I am sorry that we're having technical difficulties. Eating keto lasagna while watching. Well, Susan, very nice. Jerry Lynn wants to know how to get her HDL up. It's low. She needs to eat more fatty meat. That's what's going to raise your HDL. Okay, he's on a different device now, Nisha. And I still don't have an add button. Oh, well, he just requested. There we go. Adding. Hang on, guys. He'll be here, and then we're going to talk about this. Yeah, Amy, I love Dave Feldman, too.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, did this actually work?
Yes. The
Oh
right
no, now I can't
honorable.
hear you.
Oh, I can hear you. You can't hear me? Is it muted or, I mean, like, is it really low or you just can't hear me at all?
Can't hear anything. Hold on a sec.
Okay. What about now? I feel like a Verizon commercial. Can you hear me now?
Okay, now I can hear you.
Ah,
All right.
beautiful. Hey, Dave. Long time no see, man.
Likewise, likewise. Sorry, racing through the house to find some place where there's lighting and just talk about modern day
I know,
technical
right?
fixes.
I love
We
it.
have so many devices, so many places we could go, but we still have to figure it out.
So,
All
guys,
right.
you have before you one of the preeminent thinkers about lipidology right here before you today, a veritable philosopher of total cholesterol and LDL. And so, if you have any family or friends who are worried about their total cholesterol or LDL, text them, email them, run next door and grab them and say, come watch this with me because this is going to help them understand what is actually a risk factor for heart attack and stroke and what actually is not. Yes, you can do keto with ulcerative colitis. You actually should. Okay, Dave, welcome. This is the first one we've done, isn't it?
It
Or we
is
did,
actually, yeah.
yeah, on
Hey,
Facebook, I think so.
I wonder if there's any clues that this is the first one we've done.
maybe.
Maybe.
Oh, somebody said you're very handsome, Dave.
Oh, thanks. I definitely don't feel that way right now. I'm just kind of getting my bearings, my kin bearings, if you will.
Yes. Yes, I love it. So we just got back from Low Carb Houston, where we had a great
Hmm.
time and learned a lot of nice and useful information. Dave actually gave a presentation there about one of the things I want to talk to him about, an experiment that he did. And I want to talk about the Wonder Bread experiment here in a second, if that's okay.
Sure, please.
Okay. First of all, I want you to tell us a little bit about you since this is your first time with us. What you used to do, what you do now, kind of your health journey to this point. Everybody loves that stuff and they want to know more about you.
Sure. Well, first of all, I went on a ketogenic diet about 3.5 years ago. And I actually did it not to lose weight. I did it in order to dodge type 2 diabetes. I had an A1C of 6.1 for the second year in a row. And the doctor didn't seem, or rather the physician's assistant didn't seem to be too concerned about it. She was like, "Well, we'll keep monitoring it." And I was like, "Well, I don't want to keep monitoring it's rampant on my dad's side of the family, so I'm going to start taking some steps to change it." And I found diabetes forums, and on diabetes forums, there seemed to be this LCHF that was talked about quite a bit, and learned that that was low carb. Found out about keto and said, oh, okay, I'll try this out. And I tried it out, and wow, I just felt so good on so many levels. I feel like a lot of people have the same story where they had problems their whole life that they didn't realize that weren't associated with just old age or something like that. And I had so many of those things happen to me. But 7 months later, I then get my first cholesterol test. And while all my other markers looked great, my total and LDL cholesterol skyrocketed. And that sort of led me on to this journey. Now, I'm a software developer. So, as a software developer, I started looking into the patterns associated with cholesterol. And I found that the whole lipid system actually has a lot in common with a network. And that's kind of what got me all started on this journey.
That got you triggered, didn't it? When that realization, you're like, hey, I know this stuff. I can do this. And I kind of actually, I was almost 300 pounds when I started low carb years
Is
ago.
that
Yeah, can you?
right?
Yeah, and I'm 235 now, so I tend to I'm a meaty guy. But yeah, I was almost 300. I was at my grandmother's house, and she has an old bathroom scale that was she bought it probably in 1972. I mean, it's old and green, and I got on it, and
Hmm.
it only goes to 250 because back then you didn't need a scale that went above 250, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
so it said that I weighed 49 pounds or 48 pounds, and that's like a custom at my grandmother's house. You go and you eat as much as you can hold, and everybody goes and weighs. I don't even know what to tell you, but that's just the thing you do. And so if you've gained any weight, Granny will make fun of you, right? And so she was literally down on her hands and knees looking at this number, going, I don't understand. I think you broke it. And it was because I weighed 298 pounds. And then
Wow.
at that point, my A1C was 5.9, 6.0, and I was exactly the same as you. I was like, yeah, I don't want to watch as I slowly get sicker and sicker. I actually want to
Right.
reverse that. And so my doctor at the time, who was me, said, oh, it's probably fine. We'll check it again in a year. And then me said, no, I don't think so. I think I'm going to fix this. I'm going to figure out how to do that. And so I'm similar to Dave. My current, I just told everybody before you joined, my latest lipid panel, my total cholesterol was 350 and my LDL was 250 ish.
Right.
And my triglycerides were like 70 and my HDL was like 70. And so that's my current lipid panel numbers. If you guys have reversed your A1C like Dave and I have, I want to know what your highest A1C was and now what it is now. Put that in the comments while we chat about this. So continue, Dave. And it's so important that people hear this kind of stuff, because otherwise, if you're out in the wilderness, if you're just in Camden, Tennessee, and you don't know any better, how do you know? You're like, oh my God, my cholesterol went through the roof. Now what?
Sure. Well, look, I mean, at the end of the day, I thought, I mean, you and I have grown up, we're not that far off in age, and we've grown up with Lipidor commercials and Crestor commercials, and we've grown up with family members who've told us, you know, I'm worried about my high cholesterol. My doctor's very concerned. And we're trying to do what we can to fight it, because to fight it is to fight heart disease. That basically high cholesterol in your blood equals high death rate, period. And so after my cholesterol went up, I mean, I'm not a medical doctor, but I figured, okay, well, there's probably going to be some groundbreaking studies that will just flat out make it clear that it's like smoking. The higher your cholesterol, the more you just die. End of discussion.
Right.
And as you probably well know, at a minimum, even if you're a pro-lipid lowering person, you have to concede that it's at least more complicated. That's your best way of stating it.
Yep.
Because once you start getting into it, the first thing you notice is that actually on the female side of the fence, there's almost nothing. When they stratify, I mean, it's stunning how many studies would show that the higher cholesterol was for females, the lower the all-cause mortality. Like, and I really want to emphasize this, because a lot of times there's almost a red herring to whether it's cardiovascular disease or not. I don't care that much about dying of a specific thing. I care about dying of everything, right? So if you die less of one particular thing, that can also mean that you die of things other than that particular thing sooner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just don't want to die. Whether I die of cancer or whether I die of a heart attack or a stroke or whatever, I just don't want that. I don't want it in my life.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And look, if you, and this is why smoking is such a great corollary, is if you look at people who smoke, they die sooner. And they don't just die sooner a little bit, they die sooner by a lot, right?
Yep,
There's not,
exactly.
We don't even need to do an RCT. Nobody's even arguing or debating about it. Why? Because the several-fold likelihood that you're going to die is so substantial. Epidemiological is good enough for everybody. It's very rare that you get to those levels.
Dave's a very smart guy, and so I'm going to be translating as we go through this. First of all cause mortality means dying from any cause. That's number one. And an RCT is a randomized controlled trial. That is the sine qua non of scientific research, is a double-blinded, placebo-controlled, randomized controlled trial. That is the cream of the crop when it comes to researching to actually figure out what is causing what. And you can't really do that with cigarette smokers. And so we have to look at observational data, but the relative risk value is so high in those studies that you would be silly to say, no, it ain't the smoking causing that, it's some confounder.
Right, exactly. And I thought, Ken, at that point that I saw that my cholesterol was high, it would take me just a few days to go ahead and find a few studies that would be like the landmark studies that would say, yeah, high LDL, more mortality, end of discussion. And needless to say, that's not what I was finding. It was a bit frustrating for me, because I felt like the level of confidence that it was a bar none killer would be so clear. Well, I just mentioned women. Let's talk about men. On the male side of the fence, actually, there's quite a lot of data that shows after age 50, for example, you get more and more potential benefit. There's a lot of studies that show that you actually get more benefit with higher levels of cholesterol as well. Again, this is so odd because why would elderly actually get greater benefit from cholesterol as they get older? You'd think it would be the other way around. You have a longer period of time of exposure to cholesterol and to cholesterol carrying lipoproteins. Those are the boats in your body that actually carry them around. And at that point, I was like, okay, well, this doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And because I keep seeing these software patterns, I kind of feel like it's more agile than they may think that it is, or at least that I'm being told it is in the literature. And that's what led me to start doing a lot of these self-experiments. And I thought, hey, maybe I could change, my numbers in a couple weeks instead of like 3 months.
Right.
And I was
because
wrong.
most doctors are taught, and most doctors fully believe, and then of course most patients believe that your LDL kind of is what it is. You check the number and it's 250. That's what it is. And doctors don't ever imply that number fluctuates on a daily basis. They don't imply that you can do anything to correct it or make it better or worse. They just imply you need to take a statin, or worse, these days there's actually a new class of drugs. And so one of the very key things I wanted everybody to get from this, Dave, is that your LDL cholesterol is constantly going up and down, okay?
Yes.
If you're sick, if you're under stress, if you gain weight, if you lose weight, if you eat this, if you eat that, your LDL changes on a daily basis. And we're going to talk more about that when we talk about the Wonder Bread experiment. But I want you guys, that's concept number one. Your LDL is not set in stone. If it's high, that doesn't mean it's high for life. First of all, we don't care if it's high. But like for instance, if your HDL is very low right now, that doesn't mean, oh, well, you're screwed. That's it. You either take a pill or that's it. You can fix that with your diet, okay? And so I want you to understand these numbers change constantly, but a lot of your doctors don't tell you that.
Yeah, well, not only does the research I'm doing expose how dynamic it is, but on top of that, per what you were just talking about, there are other markers that I have since found out are much more, in my opinion, far more important for tracking your state of disease and your risk levels than LDL cholesterol. And as you know, I have a challenge out there right now, which I actually set aside a budget of my own to pay out people who could find me studies for which high levels of that LDL cholesterol, the so-called bad cholesterol, is associated with high levels of cardiovascular disease, so long as you have also high HDL cholesterol and low triglycerides.
Right. You think anybody's found a study yet, guys, that shows this? I don't think so. Have you had any takers?